Hello, Todd Shank here with Premier FPL. Getting ready for Gameweek 33 here with my tips coming up for the weekend. Did want to get in a quick video here since there are matches coming up starting tomorrow afternoon, so just wanted to try to get that in time since I'm not really going to have any time tomorrow. This will probably be a pretty short one, which is fine because there's not quite as much going on this weekend, with only 6 matches taking place this weekend. The main thing to remember is to look ahead, start preparing for Game Week 35 here, and then wrapping up for the end of the season, making sure that you do have a plan in place. So just to kind of recap, my last couple of weeks have really tanked, and again, I'm having issues with my captaincy. I really thought that Sterling was going to turn things around, having done so well during the international break. But once again, international break sucks, and he comes back, barely plays anything at all, and really just kind of ruins my whole, does a lot to ruin my week there. Yeah, I don't think I've ranted before about how much I hate international breaks, but I'll rant here real quick and just say, I really hate it. I don't care about international football at all. It's boring to me. I'll occasionally watch it if other people are watching it in the off season, but I think the real football is in the professional leagues, Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga, those sort of places where you see the real quality football. So, anyway, I'll end my rant there and go back to bemoaning my team and how poorly it did. Aguero would have been a better captain despite not playing against Cardiff, but picking up those 10 points there against Fulham was pretty huge. Hazard also would have been a much better captain pick, and that really would have been the difference between getting a big green arrow and the tiny green arrow they got for overall, but lots of red arrows, mainly due to everybody else basically going the same direction that I did in using the free hit chip for the Game Week 32 double game week. So that's what I did. So here you can see my team. Unfortunately, Holebas only played in the match against Fulham, and only picked up 1 point for that. I thought that they would do much better against Fulham, and I thought that he was had a really good chance to pick up some points there. I had considered bringing in Deeney up front, but instead decided to go with Rashford and Higuain. I thought that Rashford would get more playing time, but again, his injury, once again, I think is mainly due to the international break and just not ever getting a break from football throughout the year. It is destroying football, in my opinion. Same thing, at least Aguero didn't have the internationals to worry about as much, but he ended up coming up injured. So now I've got these two guys that are injured for me. Really would have been better if Holebas had not played, and then I could have had Valerie come in, and that could have been, an extra 5 points for me. But anyway, for this week, I still have, 10 players that are ready to go, and I do still have my 1 free transfer. So I will probably just pick based on this weekend, because I am still planning to use my wild card. Here, let's see. I'm just planning to use my wild card here in Game Week 34, so that way I can have my team prepped and ready to go for Game Week 35, where we have the double game weeks. Some of the teams that I'm looking at targeting here, Watford, I think Wolverhampton's going to be a good one. Even winding down the rest of the season, I think they're good to hold on to some players. Southampton has pretty decent run-in as well. Watford and West Ham away, they're their two toughest matches. Newcastle away could be pretty tough too, but I'm thinking about keeping Valerie in my team there. Looking here, obviously Liverpool, you got some great fixtures. Wolverhampton at home in the last match. That'll be very interesting just to see where things are. in terms of going into that last match and the table. Chelsea has, Liverpool and then United, but mixed in there, they do have some decent other fixtures in there. Even looking at this weekend, I'm thinking about maybe targeting Hazard again against West Ham at home. It's a London derby, so it could be an interesting one for Hazard to come in there. Looking at this weekend, Bournemouth at home against Burnley, that looks like it could be, I say interesting, but not really in a, exciting sort of way. More like, that could be one that could go either way, with Bournemouth usually doing fairly well at home, but Burnley has been playing well lately as well. I think that's, Leicester City has some decent matches except for their last three, so I don't know that I'm really going to look at them too much, but could be something for other people to look at bringing in some players. City has their last three matches that are decent, and against Crystal Palace here away in Gameweek 34, but they do have the Tottenham match and then the the Manchester derby where they're away there. Teams playing this weekend: Everton, Arsenal, Everton, Bournemouth and Burnley, Chelsea and West Ham, and then Crystal Palace and Newcastle, as well as the Leicester City, Huddersfield, and the Liverpool, Southampton. I think, Leicester City, definitely a good one for this week here against Huddersfield. Huddersfield already going down. So looking at targeting teams that are playing against Huddersfield and Fulham, looks like a great way to go since they're both going down. Now, the other side of it is maybe those teams will do better considering they're already down. So basically, there is no pressure on them whatsoever, and they can go out there and who knows what they will do. They're basically playing for pride now, and it could be an interesting time to pick up some of the Fulham Huddersfield players, just kind of on a whim, and they could be some decent differentials, especially looking at some of their fixtures they have coming up here. If they're able to, pull off anything in some of those fixtures, I'm looking at this United match. That could be a really tricky one. But, you never know. It could go either way. It could be, they've completely given up. They're ready to go home and muddle through the off season and see where they're going to wind up next year. All right, so I think that's really about where I'm going to wrap up. I'm not going to go into captain picks, mostly because I have failed on my captain's picks for several months now. Getting really sick of it, and really wouldn't mind getting some suggestions from anybody in the comments below as well. So I think that's actually where I'm going to end it. Like I said, trying to keep this one nice and short. I think the main player that I'm going to be targeting with my one free transfer is probably going to be Hazard in. I think I can do it for Hazard in for Pogba, and otherwise leave my team the way it is. Like I said before, I know I'm handicapping myself, but I am going to try and go the season without taking any hits. Just that's been my goal for the season. I'm sticking with it. I know several times I could have gotten more points if I had gone against it, but I thought, you know what, this is my goal. I'm sticking with it. This is what I'm going to do and see where I end up. All right, yep, that's where I'm going to end it. As always, wish you all good luck and have fun.